is the Phantom Menace.
Okay,
So, like, just,
fair enough.
you know, like I'm. We don't have to talk about it. Well, we can talk about it, but I also have been watching the Clone Wars, so like I go back and I have a lot more fondness for Phantom Menace. I think Jake Lloyd is actually kind of he's a kid, like he's a kid in that movie, and as like a 15-year-old kid, I didn't want to watch that, but as
Right.
like a 37-year-old father with my own like almost 7-year-old kid, like I was like, oh man, like I love it, like I'm here for it, and I don't really hate Jar Jar. I mean, I hate him, but like it's like a begrudging hate now. Like he's there, I'm gonna deal with him, and my kid loved him.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you?
And missed him when you guys watched
She
Attack of the
did. She was
Clones.
like, "Where's Jar Jar?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna be in it in a little bit, sweetie. Don't worry about it.
um,
He's gonna set into motion some dark shit."
Fair enough. One more thing about Rise of Skywalker, actually, to double back. One thing I noticed when the movie came out is a lot of fans who are older than you and me, like OG Star Wars fans, really seem to like feel that movie deep in their bones. Like Star Wars, like my parents liked it a lot more than the first two of the trilogy, and one of our old high school drama teachers really loved it. Mr. Bassa was just like, holy shit, this is what I've been waiting for. And some other, Star Wars fans who are more, who started in the 70s. So like, it is interesting to see that, like, for the boomers, actually, it seems like the movie really worked for them. At least the boomers I know.
I mean, I didn't come out of it going like, "Oh, I hated everything about that." So for me, like when I left the theater, I was satisfied. I wasn't like blown away or anything like that. Like upon the first viewing of the last, well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I like Rise of Skywalker. It's really, like you said, the Attack of Clones is the only movie that I'm like, no, I don't want to watch that again.
Oh, it's such a chore to sit through. All right, my number 7 is Revenge of the Sith.
Wow. Okay.
And I like Revenge of the Sith a lot.
Me too.
I think it's got a killer opening act, like the whole rescuing the Chancellor thing with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling like, where has this been for the last 2 movies? Like, this is what I wanted to see.
Immediately after that, it like,
well,
like,
that's what you get in the Clone Wars.
I'm not talking about like, it is what you get in the Clone Wars. Like, you get all this like really awesome, like fun fights and like the stakes are high and character development and like, yeah. And also like, it felt like the camaraderie between Anakin and Obi-Wan was like more level. And like you see that. I think they do a better job in the Clone Wars of like showing you who Anakin really is than what you see in Revenge of the Sith, unfortunately. Like I just really wish that like that Anakin could have been in Star Wars episode Revenge of the Sith, and it would honestly probably have been one of the top movies because like he like that version of Anakin is just so much better. Like you see his anger more like viscerally. Like I don't want to spoil a scene in season 7 for you, but like
I haven't seen 7 yet, so yeah,
but when you watch it, you're gonna go, yes, like this is what I'm talking about. Like it's just like, but even in other places, like he gets mad and he shows his anger like sometimes, and like you see the potential for like the power,
darkness,
right, and the darkness of Anakin Skywalker.
You see him freaking out other Jedi, like when they're torturing Newt Gunray or whatever.
I always think Oscar Tano, like, this is not, like...
Yeah, this is fucked up, Master. Yeah. And he's like, no, it's cool.
It's fine, kid.
I feel like this one also has a problem like Force Awakens, where there's a chunk in the middle where there's not a lot going on, and there's an action sequence that feel like the General Grievous thing. I like him better in the Clone Wars.
I love him in the Clone Wars. I hate him in Revenge of the Sith. Exactly. I don't give a shit about like General Grievous like at all. Like the only time I care about him in Revenge of the Sith is when they're on the bridge and like he fights them and they're fighting, and then he busts open the window, which is pretty fucking cool. Yeah. And then like I don't give a shit when Obi-Wan goes and fights him. But when you go back and watch the Clone Wars and you know the history behind that like
rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. Like you understand like at that moment, like when he drops down there and says hello there, like like you even feel it like even more like
yeah.
This is like, and it's not as epic as it should be. It's still pretty cool, like when he does like the spinny hand lightsaber thing, and Obi-Wan's like, it's like some of Obi-Wan's best fighting. Obviously, he's fighting four fucking lightsabers at once, but
and he's got that weird lizard creature he's riding on, and the real purpose is just to get him and Anakin apart so that the Chancellor can, and then the movie just fucking, once Anakin kills Mace Windu, it is, or lets the Palpatine, that movie is just all cylinders for me. Like, I fucking love it. Like,
I agree. Yes, once the throttle has been opened up, and that movie, it absolutely is like,
it's an opera. Like, it is so tragic and big, and it's what I wanted from that movie. And it's the only prequel that, like, I've stayed pretty steadfast in my original opinion about. I walked out of it being like, that was badass.
Especially because the end of it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and
you can almost forget.
Fight.
Yes, it's the most, that lightsaber fight is the most intense. Like, when Olivia and I were watching that recently, like, she was, like, glued to the TV, like, because, it's so fast, like, like, it's so crazy, like, how fast and like,
angry.
How powerful it is, like, the scene between them, like, as they're shouting at each other. I mean, especially the end, like, where he chops his arm and his legs off.
He
like,
hobbles his,
like, and he tells him, he's like, don't do this. Like, I am going to win this. And he does it because Anakin's, reckless, and he thinks he's more powerful, especially now that he's done all this shit, right? Like, and then he pays for it.
He buys his own hype, yeah.
He did buy his own hype. He was like, I'm betting on me, Obi-Wan.
I remember we'd been waiting to see that fight for years and years, and I feel like it delivers. Like, it really delivers. It is the most emotionally satisfying lightsaber duel in the entire Star Wars saga.
Agreed, 100%.
And it is, and the ending with Obi-Wan dropping off Luke with his aunt and uncle, it's actually pretty touching, and it doubles back, especially when that was supposed to be the end of Star Wars forever. Yeah. It doubles back on A New Hope in this really lovely way that actually, like, leaves you, despite all the darkness, with hope. Yeah, and that's pretty great. Yeah, so that's my number 7. What was your number 7?
It was Phantom Menace. Yeah, we did. Okay. My number 6 was Revenge of the Sith. So
okay,
that worked out.
Fair enough.
What's your number 6?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Okay.
That one I like more and more every time I watch it. I've only watched it a couple of times, but I remember feeling kind of cold about it the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty dark.
Yeah, and I that's another example. I think Disney kind of had this problem with their first couple of Star Wars movies, where, again, you've got a pretty strong, fast-moving first act, and then, like, the movie doesn't quite know what to do after the destruction of Jeddah, and until, they're like, well, we got to give them something to do, until they decide to go steal the Death Star plans. Yeah. So they go to see, Jen's father. Yeah. Which, like, I don't understand. Yeah, the order to do that doesn't make sense. Also, how are they communicating through hyperspace? I didn't know they could do that.
Especially back then.
Yeah, in the Civil War days. But it looks great. The action is great. What I love about it, too, is it's got the aesthetic of that movie is closer to the original Star Wars than any other Star Wars movie. Like, it looks and feels like A New Hope, but like a grittier, darker, more grown up, more shades of gray.
Yeah. Well, it shows you how high the stakes were too. Like, it makes you appreciate it. I think it makes you appreciate what they go through in A New Hope much more. Like, because that, like, they were fucking decimated, like, by getting that shit for, like, because they had a much bigger army, like, before all that happened. And then they really kind of bet the farm on Scarif, and it worked out for them. But, like,
It almost didn't, yeah. And I love that it's not afraid to kill every single one of its characters.
Yeah, I had that realization as the robot died. I was like, oh fuck, they're all gonna die. Like I knew as soon as like the robot was like goodbye Cassian, and then like slammed the door down so that the blast door's down. Like I knew like oh fuck, they're all gonna die. And then I thought I was like, well, it just makes sense also because like where were they at? Like,
yeah, and it makes like you said, it puts A New Hope in context. It makes the Death Star even scarier.
Yeah,
and I feel like Gareth Edwards, I think that's the name of the director, has a really great eye for scale. Like the Death Star feels bigger in that movie than it ever did in the original trilogy. And part of that's technology, but he also knows how to put things in context. Like Star Destroyers look huge, and the space battle at the end of that movie is fucking gorgeous. It's basically what A New Hope would look like today.
If they made it today.
Yeah, and I love it for that. And I think the score is really great. It's the first non-John Williams Star Wars score, and it's got enough of Star Wars in its bones that it feels like Star Wars, but it's also doing something kind of different. I like it. It's a good one.
I like it too. What is your number 5? 6.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is it 5?
Oh, what was your number 6?
Revenge of the Sith. So yes, it was.
Okay.
Number 5.
We keep just doubling back at each other.
Yeah, I think we're going to turn a corner for a second here. My number 5, Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, hot take.
It's my number 4, so we're not that far off.
And Rogue One is my number 4. So
actually, you and I are pretty much simpatico on most of this. So, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
Give me your wrap on Return of the Jedi.
I think that it's a fun way to end the original trilogy. As I was a teenager, I was like, oh yeah, fuck the Ewoks. But like, I don't care about the Ewoks.
They're
now.
pretty cute.
Like they are cute, number 1, and number 2, like they are literally fighting an oppressive army. Like everyone can get behind that. Even these like semi-sentient creatures. They're sentient. Obviously, they have a fucking civilization. Yeah, but they eat people, but like. Because think about this, where'd that dress for Leia come from? That means they ate that motherfucker.
You think so?
They don't all wear clothes. Some of them have like little hats, but like.
Well, I thought maybe they'd had human visitors before, but on the other hand, Wicket doesn't seem to know what to do with Leia when he meets her. Like, he pulls a spear on her, and then once he realizes, he's kind of like a dog. Once he realizes she has food, he just sits down right next to her. And he's like,
also, he's young too. Like he's like a baby Ewok, not baby, but like he's like a younger
he's a kid.
Ewok. Yeah, like he's not like those fucking old ones with like the skulls and shit. Like, but I like the Ewoks fine, and I dig it. They're part of the revolution too, man. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone can be part of it. And actually, the only thing that I really like that George Lucas put into the trilogy is that scene where all the galaxy is celebrating. Although now I kind of hate it because, like, knowing what I know about the sequel trilogy, it's almost like, well, yeah, but not really.
Yeah, and then they do a callback to that at the end of Rise of Skywalker, and it's like, are we supposed to believe it this time, JJ?
Is it real this time, though? Just you can tell us. We won't be mad. We'll be mad a little bit, obviously.
Okay, the one thing in Return of the Jedi, which I maybe hate this one scene more than the entirety of Attack of the Clones, the musical number that was put into the special
God,
edition.
I'm with you so much. I fast forward through it every time. I was like,
me too.
I told my wife when we were watching it for the first time in a while, I said, this scene, I told her, I said, that scene at the end is one of my favorite things they ever put in. And I said, but also, it also has the worst fucking scene, Jedi Rock. Get that shit out of here. It has no fucking place in this movie. It ties nothing together in terms of story. It is literally a fucking shitty song for no reason. It's not like the Cantina song.
CGI.
Right? Terrible CGI. Oh, it's so bad. That's why it's number 5 because of that fucking. That's why Rogue One is better because at least like Cassian and what's the lady's name?
Jen.
I really like. I thought their scene at the end where they're on the beach together before was really dumb. Like I was like, well,
really?
That's kind of dumb. I did, and then like I watched it again, and I was like, it's actually super sweet because they're fucking looking essentially like an atomic bomb, and they know that it's coming for them, and there's nothing they can do about it. However, they have succeeded in the thing that they're trying to do, and like they are like satisfied in knowing that. and they're there like together, that they did this thing together. Like, I think it's very powerful actually now that I watch
and when he tells her your father would be